Good advice never works, but why? Today I want to talk about 8 ways to find the truth behind any advice that you're ever given. Advice. It seems like you turn on the TV today, you're getting people telling you to save. You're getting the government's telling you to spend, become a consumer, economy. It's just crazy. When you're a kid, you're told, this is the way to behave, and as you get older, you realize that might create problems, and you're like, well, what do I listen to? What's truth? So as always, I'm going to begin with a quote to help on this subject, and that quote is, "The best way to give advice to your children is to find out what they want and then advise them to do it." Harry S. Truman. What a great quote. The only advice you should ever give anyone is simply this: what do you want? How do you feel? And they can answer it. You can't tell anyone what to do. Tell someone not. Tell someone who's in love with someone that you can't see that person anymore. They will find a way. So really, what you want to do is take the knowing that they already have. Because when people ask for advice, what they're asking for is for you to ignite what they already know. And if you tell them something they don't like, they just move on and keep asking. So ask them, what do you want? And then when they say, well, I really want to travel the world, and you go, well, my advice is to travel the world. I know it sounds simple, but it's really true. My personal story was, I used to love giving out advice, and I used to think it was really, really great. And then one day I just stopped. I said, listen, I don't want to give advice anymore, because ultimately, a lot of people don't take it, or alternatively, I don't know if it's helping. But what I found very true was that whilst advice is never taken in the moment, it helps reveal truth later on. An example would be when someone says, listen, this individual has a history of doing these things, and my advice is to be careful. You could say, listen, this person's great, I'm just going to ignore the 5 people who told me that because, I'm in love or whatever. And then ultimately, what you'll notice is that as that person starts delivering that behavior, you can grab that advice, put it together, and recognize what's happening in front of you. Now, if no one ever told you they exhibited that, for example, cheating, they're a serial cheater. If no one ever told you that, you might not look for the signs. You might not. You might give them 3 or 4 chances. So advice, whilst it seems stupid at the start, helps reveal truth when the Tao unfolds the way things are unfold. And one of the challenges is if you don't recognize truth when it comes in front of you, not better than things are, not worse than they are, but truth, you'll need to repeat the lessons and pay more into your life. So how do we do this? What are the 8 ways? Well, number 1 is the environment. Everything you need to know about anything is revealed in the moment. Sitting in your bedroom, thinking about what someone's doing tonight or why this person hurt you is not your environment. That is craziness. That is anxiety and pain. The environment you're in, the way things are unfolding, is the truth. It is always the truth. What people say doesn't matter. What people do is much more powerful because that does interact with your environment. So always, when you're ever confused, look to your environment. How are things right now? How's my body? How's my health? How's my relationships? And what can I do to take action? Number 2, truth reveals itself in the moment. So as we were talking about before, don't worry about searching for truth. It will reveal itself when it's necessary. So many people go, before I start these things, I want to learn all this stuff. That's good, but it might be keeping you from living your dreams for quite a while. So what you want to do is you want to go out, experience. Buddha talked about a direct experience all the time. How does it interact with you? Because what's good advice for one person is not always good advice for another person. And knowing that means you can live your own journey and allow the advice to come to you and unfold in the moment. Never in the future, never in the past. Yes, we learn things from the past, and yes, there are things going to happen in the future, but quite often we drag these old belief systems in to deal with new problems, and it just doesn't help. Number 3, advice is living with the results of other people's beliefs. Like, people aren't in your body, they don't know how you feel, and they don't really know your situation. So what do? They go, well, in my life, I've done these things. Now, you have to ask yourself, are you willing to live with the result of someone else's life? Most people aren't. Most people want to live their true, authentic life. So remember, the advice you're given, if you follow it all the time without thinking, you'll simply be living someone else's story. 4, never give advice. Just give information. What I learned was when I say to people, I'll give you some advice, quite often they're like, I don't want to hear this. Because what is advice? Advice, once again, is your opinion. No one wants your opinion. They've got their own already. Information is much better. And even framing it from the perspective, I'd like to give you some information on this subject, just opens people's ears because everyone always wants information. Number 5, don't give away the moral. The best movies are the ones that sort of end, you know, those cliffhangers that sort of end. And there's a movie called Donnie Darko. If you haven't seen it, I really recommend it. It's a weird movie, but you don't know what it's about. Well, you do know what it's about, but there's no set thing that it's about. You know, you watch it and you decide what it's about. And that's why it's such a cult film. It was a small budget film, but it's a cult film. When you tell someone a story, don't give them the moral. Stories take people through a logical mental process that helps them find the truth. It's kind of like saying, all right, we're going to go on this amazing journey and we're going to see all these amazing, you know, experiences, and we're going to find this treasure chest. And by the way, here's your treasure chest. And you go, well, hold on, I haven't had a chance to live it and experience it myself. Number 6, understand cognitive dissonance. This is why you shouldn't expect people to change or expect people to, you know, feel bad about themselves. People rationalise everything they do. Everything they do. Have a chat to if Hitler was still alive today, he would rationalise the things he did. And why do we do this? Well, the cognitive dissonance that we hold as humans means that we can't live with things that are incompatible with our belief system. And this is why people become schizophrenic. This is why people create multiple personalities, especially in situations where they've done something horrible. There's a lot of psychiatric wards where people think they're Jesus or Napoleon after killing their family. Why? Because living with what has actually happened is way more powerful than creating a new narrative, and everyone does that. That's an extreme, but we all have cognitive dissonance. Oh, I broke up with her because, we just weren't right, and, I really noticed at the start of the relationship they were telling all the lies. Well, hold on, when did you work that out? You obviously have worked that out now, but you're backwards rationalising it. So every single decision, good or bad, you're ultimately going to rationalise. Knowing that about yourself is really important. Number 7, pain is the real teacher. When something is painful, when something has hurt you, it's directing you away. Unfortunately, what we do with relationships and life and love is we somehow keep chasing after the thing giving us pain. Why are we doing that? Well, we need a better lesson. And unfortunately, a lot of people are resilient and they get smacked around the head with pain. And they keep following painful decisions, whether it's drugs, alcohol, like I said, relationships, will constantly be hurting their life. But they're so resilient, they're still alive, and they keep going for it because they believe behind that is love and connection. It's not. Pain is there for you to change course. It's like the wind on the sails. You can continually push into the wind and get nowhere, but you can do it if you want. It's stupid. Or you can just allow the wind to take you where you need to go. Trust. And finally, compassion over I told you so. It's so easy to say, well, I told you so to someone. And how often does that help? Does that make your friend go, yeah, I like that guy, he keeps telling me that he told me so? No, understand that you have ignored advice in the past. You have been given information that you've ignored in the past. So when someone does it, especially when it's something that you've given information about, just show them compassion. Just say, well, have a laugh. I told you so should never happen. You should never be holding that over people because the story is continually written, and maybe if you show compassion, that information that you gave them will double up and be even more powerfully used the next time. It's something to think about. Advice is an interesting thing. You really got, you can't take it all, so you need to know where the right ones are. It's something to think about, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.